Yeah. So a lot of you guys want to see a full-length carp video, and today is that day. In this video, I'm going to go city fishing and show you how to use a super effective carp rig. I was only there for about an hour and a half, and man, we slayed. So subscribe if you like what you see, drop a like for the algorithm, and let's go. Fishing in the city can get pretty weird. If you walk across a busy intersection and go under a sketchy bridge that sometimes has people living under it, and cross a major road, you get to this section where you can easily access the water. You don't need a lot to catch carp. I use corn. It's super effective and super cheap, and I typically use it on something called a hair rig. Yes, you can put bait straight on the hook, but the problem is a lot of carp bait like corn, dough, and bread falls off the hook really easily. Another problem is that carp are actually surprisingly good at detecting hooks, so they get spooky. By feeding the bait through a baiting needle and then feeding that onto the hair, the bait's presented separately from the hook and carp are more willing to take it. You need something called a bait stop to prevent the bait from falling off of the hair. I just use a little piece of twig, and this setup, man, it's a certified carp catcher. I clip little bells to my rod just so I know when a fish is messing with my bait. So whenever I hear I know that I have a fish on.
That's a fish.
So if you've ever caught a carp, sometimes they run like crazy, other times it's like reeling in a shopping cart. I leave my drag loose just because carp are big enough to pull your rod straight into the water. This guy's not fighting super hard, so I'm just straight reeling and occasionally pausing when I feel like he's running a little bit. Fighting carp's pretty straightforward. It's a reason why they're a really family-friendly fish to target.
That was a crazy takedown. 0 to 100 real quick. Nice little carp.
So there's our first fish of the day, decent sized common carp. Unfortunately, I didn't have a landing mat with me, so I'm handling him over the dead grass and doing my best to keep him from thrashing around. Hair rigs are great because they actually set themselves. I'll explain how the mechanism works in a second, and it almost always catches the bottom lip. Quick little release and off he goes. So like I said earlier, let's talk a little bit about gear. There are two super important pieces of equipment you need to be successful at carp fishing, and they're not what you might think. The first is actually a heavy weight. As I mentioned, hair rigs set themselves, and that's because when carp get spooked, they often jerk their head in the opposite direction really hard. And the hair rig set up so they actually set the hook into their mouth themselves. But you need a solid counter force in order for this to happen. I use either a 2 or 3 ounce weight. Some carp anglers might even consider that to be light. You can use an egg sinker style or a bank sinker style. Whatever's round and doesn't get snagged gets the job done. And I have a lot of these sinkers around just because of saltwater fishing. But we got another fish on, so let's catch this guy and I'll tell you about the second crucial piece of equipment you need to catch carp. Again, not jerking my rod super hard, really just straight reeling. I'm running, I think, 20-pound braid here. And carp aren't largemouth. They don't have these super hard mouths that can take a big beating.
It's a better one.
So there's our second fish of the morning. Hasn't even been 30 minutes. Nice hook set in the upper lip this time, but still 2 for 2 in terms of hookups. These BKK hooks really are earning their keep, which segues nicely into what I think is the second most crucial piece of gear to catch carp is, and that is sharp hooks. Same idea as the weight. A carp does a big head shake that drives those hooks into its mouth on its own. The sharper the hook, the more effective this hook set will be. My go-to is a size 6 BKK hook. I'm using bait holders, which are honestly more for surf fishing, but any J hook from these guys works amazingly well. I've had other hooks this size bend out on me. A quick and dirty way to test sharpness is to actually run the hook along your fingernail. A sharp hook should shave off your nail with little to no force whatsoever. But we got fish number 3 on, so let's see what it is.
This rod, man.
So this one's dogging me a little bit, so I have to keep that rod tip high since the last thing I want is for this fish to get my sinker stuck on the bottom. This is Boston, so there's so much crap in this river to get snagged on. We're talking bikes, shopping carts, strollers, sofa cushions. I mean, I've snagged everything under the sun. But this fish was totally worth it and is actually going to be a surprise catch for me.
Oh, it's a mirror. Nice.
This is actually a mirror carp, and my first one too. Really awesome looking pattern. I love how these fish look. Definitely letting this guy go so he can reproduce. You heard me say earlier how this red rod is getting all the hits, and so far we're 3 for 3. But my rod on the right is about to get its first hit. However, I'm running a duller hook on that rod, and you're about to see how big of a difference it makes.
Oh, it came off. No.
Yep, we lost that guy. First lost fish of the day, and to add insult to injury, I have this stick. So make sure you use sharp hooks and heavy weights to catch your carp.
Just got it. That was a nice takedown. Oh, it's a better fish.
There's a smaller common that makes fish number 4 of the morning, and we've been here maybe an hour and a half, so definitely a productive day of carp fishing. But I got one more hit to show you, and this one happened while I was talking to a dude that started chatting me up on the bank.
Got it. Cool.
That's a good idea. I have a clip one that I think I should use it with my hat, with my GoPro.
Yeah.
I sometimes mount it to my camera.
Oh, I think of a fish. Yeah. Oh, he got me snagged. Lost it.
And right there is what happens when you let a carp take too much line. I had him on, but he probably got my sinker wedged between 2 rocks on the bottom. Well, there you have it. There's some full-length carp action for you guys. If you made it to the end, you're a real one, and let me know what you think below, and if you want to see more videos like this in the future.